All right, good evening, Generation Crypto. I'm gonna go ahead and wait till we got a few more viewers before I really dive into today's market action. I'm seeing a lot of interesting facts on the BTC chart, whether we're looking at the daily, the 10-minute, the 30-minute, the 4-hour. A lot of developments happening on the charts. If you guys are in, if you're on YouTube, you're on Facebook, go ahead and say hi just so I know who all's watching. It's going to be your typical power hour, right? I'm going to go ahead and cover BTC price action, do a technical analysis update. I'm going to cover Ether as well. There's a really interesting comparison right now, as in which one's in the lead and USD value gains. As well, I'm going to cover the coin market cap. We're going to look at market dominance, what's happening, where's the money flow going. We always want to follow the money. What's going on, Keith? Do we have audio? Is audio good? Good morning, T-Mom. What's up, Matt Long? Awesome, great. So everything's working well. Right, let's go ahead and dive in. So I'm seeing BTC, if you guys have been following BitMEX discussion, I didn't quite post this long in short long, but I did start building a long position on this dip. We did short the divergence, right? I said we're gonna short the third and the fourth and the consecutive divergent tops, and I was up some 50 to 60% on the short. Let's do a price range. This was at 25x, got into the 7630 range. I do still have some short still open. I was starting to build along this area, and I'll probably add if we go any lower. If you guys are wondering why am I starting to build a long position, well, we saw this divergence play out. We saw RSI come back down. It's not really divergent yet. The next low might be. If not, I get stopped out. I still have a short position. We can still go lower. But looking at price action, looking at the chart, what are we seeing on a one-day perspective? Price came down, right? And then we formed somewhat of a like a 90-degree triangle. A rising triangle. Price broke up and it was divergent. We saw this divergence way ahead of time. We talked about it. Good evening, Goldie. All right, so we had this divergence. Price dropped down to the retest. Gotta wait this ambulance out. I believe this breakdown was to retest the downtrend, right? And that's when I said, hey guys, I think I'm gonna go long. And another reason I'm going long is because I'm seeing what's called drooping bottom starting to develop. A drooping bottom is going to be a bottom formation that does this. It curves around. It's got a curvature to it. We saw one happen here. We saw another droop happen there. And this is starting to look like a drooping bottom, right? When we see something happen 3-4 times, lets us know that I believe we're getting close to bottom on a low volume scale. Now this thing could break down a little lower to wash out a lot of the high leverage traders. We do want to see some liquidations happen before the massive leg up. So as you know, for BTC, what's going on? I think we're close to the head turn. We're pretty close. Based on what we've been seeing in the market, the head turns on the 6th for the last 5 months. We could be 2 days away from that big leg up. And so I do have a short with a hedged long that they're fighting each other. One's up 10%, one's up like 40%. It was at 50 to 60 a little earlier. What's going on, Matt Pink? Goldilocks, Watchman. You guys hedging? Who all's hedging with me? Who all's got a short going? Who all's got a long? What are you guys' perspectives? We've been really following this very closely in the chat. I'm gonna go to a 1 day, see what's happening on a fractal standpoint. We're right here in this narrow channel, right? We saw a support turn into a resistance. We already broke past it once. I really like this formation, guys. This little throwback, that's just a retest. That's to watch out. Weekends. That's what it's starting to look like to me, especially with the 30-day swings that have been happening. No worries. Awesome. Lopez, longest 75. Right about where I started longing. So let's make sure there's a tight stop on that. I was using 4-hour fractals for those stops. Right, so we can pick one of these fractals, probably the lowest one. I believe I have my stop posted in the BitMEX discussion. Anyways, guys, moving forward, I want to talk about Ether for a bit. Last week, and the week before, I had said that Ether is looking more bullish than BTC in a sense of it's making more USD gains, right, over the same time frame, and it's experiencing less severe pullbacks. Now that we're close to this bottom type of sentiment that I'm talking about, let's examine how much of a swing up BTC had made from the last low. It's going to be an 8.9%, right? As for from the last low to the current price, we're looking at 6%. When you compare that to Ether, I already have these values on the ETH chart. We're looking at a 23% and a 17.95%, right? So back to where we were in market cycles, I was saying that from here, from this last low to where ETH turned, we had over 126% gain in USD values versus that 50% in BTC USD. Now, that's funny. No, guys, I am not Ty Lopez. I've been featured on Ty's mastermind, Bitcoin crypto mastermind program, right? I contribute to Ty's program, but I am not Ty. Yakov Marco. That's just a funny Facebook comment I saw. All right. So when it comes to your alts, right? Somebody's got a deployable bag of BTC on an open market. Where is it going to be best deployed right now? Well, I'm gonna let you guys jump to this conclusion. Would you have wanted your dollars gain 17% the last couple of days, last 2 weeks, or 6%, right? At a top of 23% or at a top of 8.9%. So we're really seeing more aggressive price action happen on Ether. The charts don't lie. I had talked about this last couple of power hours. I have posted about this in our Discord. So pick and choose your positions wisely. All right, let's look at market dominance. And market cap. So market cap is still climbing, right? We're starting to head back up. As for market cap without BTC, as long as we're not making, as long as we're still above previous lows, that excites me. And hey, guess what? It looks like alts are headed up as well. When it comes to dominance, alts, we are still, I believe we're still above that 24%. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to withhold that and turn that into support. It's still at 24.65. Ether's at 17.5. I do see Ether gaining a little more market dominance, and I'd like to see Ether hit a new market dominance all-time high. That's exactly what it looks like it's gearing up to do with what we're seeing in Ether USD compared to BTC USD. Now, just to confirm that, we're gonna put Ether on a BTC pair right after I'm done over here, and we'll see if Ether is in an uptrend or a downtrend. That's gonna let us know if it's more bullish than BTC when it comes to USD values. And ETH BTC looks pretty solid, right? If you look at the pullback it's experienced, not much of one. Let's do a fib retracement from the last head turn of 4.6 and see how steep of a pullback we've seen. And it doesn't look like we've seen a very much heavy of one. We do know that later this year, ETH is going to proof of stake. Proof of stake typically increases the valuation of a token because of staking. Now, if you look at this pullback compared to any of your other alts, really aggressive action off that 50% fib, right? They didn't even test the 50%. What happened instead? We got wicked up, wicked off, back to above the 23.6. So right when I was talking about this a few days ago, last week and the week before, I was pretty much right. You guys have any questions on Ether or BTC or market cap or anything I covered so far? Taking questions from all three chats, guys. All good. Awesome. All right, so before we hop into altcoin requests, what I'm gonna do shortly is I'm gonna ask you guys for some altcoins. I usually take 3 requests at a time. I'll cover those 3 and then take more just so we don't lose a lot of alts in the chat and end up skipping over your coin. I've got a soft announcement to make. In about 7 days, this coming Monday, I'm gonna host a hedge your bet workshop, right? So I'm gonna essentially go over the concept of hedging and how institutions trade to help you guys get out of their retail mentality and start trading more like a hedge fund where you're actually hedging your bet. There is a link to that workshop page in the video description. I'm just gonna go there really quickly. This thing, you know, you got 6 days to sign up for this. On this actual page, I have 2 of our previous workshops featured, the Fibonacci pullbacks and divergences, as well as chart formations, right? And in this workshop, we're going to cover leveraging and hedging and concept, when to hedge and position sizing on the hedges, setting proper stops on longs and shorts, trading the big swings for larger ROI, right? We don't scalp trade. I believe that scalpers have zero confidence in what they're doing, so they try to make that quick gain and get out of the market before they get liquidated. It's not what we're up to, right? We want to trade the big swings. We want to make big ROE, big return on equity at a decent amount of leverage while mitigating risk, and this is what hedging does. And what hedging also does, it protects portfolios in long-term downtrends, and it makes a portfolio profitable in a long-term downtrend, right? So you can consider this the ultimate workshop to be profitable in all market conditions. If you want to attend this, I suggest you watch these 2 videos that I'm making accessible to the public on these 2. And then if you're not a member, we're charging a very small fee for this workshop. It's 0.01 BTC, so you can sit down and watch the workshop. We also have some 3-month specials up for grabs. If you guys are subscribers and you're expiring, you can use that, right? If you're part of the community and you're about to expire, you can use that 3-month. We also have a 1-year special for this, right? But all this expires in like 6 days, 6 minutes, and 6 days, 6 hours, and 44 minutes. Enough of that. Let's dive into alts. All right. How low will Ether go? I really think Ether is close to bottom. This next leg down, if you do see a next leg down on ETH BTC, it's a gift, right? I really think it is. It's leading this rally in percent gains in USD values. I don't consider Bcash to be a coin, so we're not gonna go over those Bcash USD gains. But, you know, from a ETH standpoint, I think it looks really good. Alright guys, in Discord, if you got some alt requests, hit me. If not, I'm gonna start taking some from Facebook. First one came in on, we had one on EOS. Matthew Pink had ZRX. I'm gonna do ZRX and then we'll do EOS. Let's go to Binance ZRX chart. Alright, so what have we seen here on ZRX on the 1 hour, right? A massive, massive pennant. It looks like price action keeps wanting to break up, but it gets suppressed. And we're looking like we are pretty close to the pennant breaking, right? You guys been trading with me, you know how to trade a pennant. So we do know that Coinbase just acquired ZRX, so there's very much of a strong possibility of it being listed. I don't see any highs, so it's hard to get a divergence reading on here. Let's see if you can see a bullish div on some of these smaller time frames. You gotta get rid of this cloud. It's really messing up the chart. There we go. Divergences, we don't see one. It's somewhat in a range. Chart, like the chart pattern looks really bullish from a standpoint of what we're seeing on a BTC chart. ZRX ETH looks good as well, right? ZRX is going to be one of those coins that's going to look really good on an ETH chart, even if you go to a 1 day, because it is a bullish token. It has been bullish and it's performing fairly well. Let's bring the cloud back in. We are above the HEDGE cloud, right? If you guys were in the workshop that I did earlier this weekend on Saturday, we covered the HEDGE cloud and how to trade it, how to get signals from it. And we do know that a thick cloud represents quite a bit of support. These are custom settings, not the one I use in the workshop. This is the one I use in the workshop, right? So we're working on custom clouds because market dynamics tend to change. So we've got this third leg up. Previous levels of resistance are turning into support. I like ZRX and I am bagging some ZRX. Is that a compliment? You buff Watchman? Kidding, man. All right, so let me cover EOS. EOS is looking fairly bullish, right? What do we see here? We see this high. It's not divergent on a 1 day. We can start hunting down bear divs if we need to, right? On smaller time frames. This looks like a healthy pullback. It held up above the cloud. If price action remains up here, right, in the interim above the cloud, and we get another TK cross above the cloud as well, things can get really volatile, right, and into the upwards realm. Now we did see some articles come out saying a lot of EOS is controlled by very few little wallets. So whenever we get such reports and such articles out, that's creating a little bit of a FUD. But it also exposes the fact that there's some really big whalers that can essentially dump on the market whenever they're satisfied with their gains. So that's something to keep in mind. Let's go to a 4-hour chart. Still above the cloud, right? This was a decent pullback buy-in. We talked about this, about the pullback trader, the aggressive pullback trader buying down here at these fractal levels. And that's where it turned, right at that fractal level. So EOS is still looking bullish from a cloud standpoint. Let's add an RSI. I see a higher high here, right? It's lower than last high. Same thing on the chart. We did see this bear div play out. Bearish divergence has played out. Price came down, and then what did we see next? Did we see any bull div? We have not seen an aggressive bullish divergence, but I mean, as of now, it's back into the uptrend. That's all I have to say on EOS. All right, guys, I'm gonna cover Lumen. Let's look at EOS ETH too, right? We want to start comparing tokens on ETH values as well. The chart looks almost the same. Still gaining, still in the gains. It's probably going to have less gains than it is off a BTC chart, just because ETH USD is making a lot more gains than ETH BTC. Moving into lumens, covered on Bittrex. Looks like lumens is headed back up, right? We do see a higher high on a lower RSI. This RSI wasn't in the extreme though, right? And we want to see it kind of start breaking up above. I do have a bullish bias towards lumens. If you look at lumens ETH, let's get rid of this cloud. It's not looking as aggressive as lumens BTC. We can go ahead and switch real quick. And what I was talking about earlier, you know, if you've got an empty bag, where's the best place to put it? Well, Lumen ETH is still in a range. It's been in a long-term range, and if ETH is going to be our biggest gainer this cycle, we want to make sure we can outperform it. If we want to experience the exponential gains we did last bull market. We've got two touches here. When it comes to the top of this range, it gets iffy. We see almost several ranges. What's going on a fractal standpoint? We want to see a close above this area, that 0.00051 satoshis of an ETH, because that's going to put us back above that previous resistance area in order to come up and retest these last highs of this range. Now, fundamentally, I like lumens a lot. So I think it's just a matter of time until it breaks out of this range. I don't see a diamond top. We don't see head and shoulders on the ETH chart. We almost see like a miniature falling wedge. So it's a range. What happens when somebody's in a range, right? We want to buy at the bottom of the range, we want to sell at the top of the range, or we're going to wait for the breakout. All right, guys, I've covered your coin so far. Give me a like on whatever platform you're watching on. Ether Classic. I don't see a bear div on these last two highs. There had been some articles coming out on Ether Classic, you know, positive ones. It was shorted very heavily up here, right, when we were expecting the fork to essentially pump it up for the Callisto fork, and we didn't see what we were hoping to see. Instead, we got the opposite because of the Z Classic sell-off. As of now, it's constricted, right? It's in a constricted range. We want to look for a divergence, and I don't see one. So it's literally in this range. So a buy would be down here, and a sell would be at the top of the range. We go ahead and put up some moving averages. Moving averages we're starting to look upwards. Now we see this other sell-off. This might be a shakeout before a rally. Let me look at volume. 64 BTC, that's fairly low, right? Ether Classic ETH getting crushed. Should be an ETH instead. We want to see those USD values go up a lot faster while ETH is in the rally. Thank you, Luis. All right, let's keep going through this. Proppy. I do not have access to Proppy as it is not on Coinigy, right? Timon, what exchange are you trading that on? I can actually, I'll go over it after Power Hour for you. let's you guys got more requests? Facebook, hit me up with some tokens. YouTube, hit me with some tokens. Anybody, guys? We still got quite a bit of time in here. Be a power 30 minutes. We don't get these alt requests rolling in. All right, Zen. We did get that article that Zen was under a 51% attack. Anytime that happens, we're gonna see a massive sell-off. But anytime you see a massive sell-off on a strong token, that creates a FUD dip, right? FUD dips are healthy for anybody that's interested in a longer term trade. Looking at Zen from a long-term trading perspective, right? I see a bull flag. That broke down into a bear flag, which was rejected back up to these highs. I do believe there's a pennant here, somewhat of a pennant. So on and on, what was a range trade, right? Which was Zen, went from being in a range to breaking up and starting to make newer highs. So I'm getting define the range in yellow. We got 3 touches. This was the wider range. What happened? Broke out of the range, made a bull flag, couldn't sustain it, broke back down into that range, forming a higher low. Once again, forming another higher low. A real patient trader would wait for it to come back down here to add. If we do come back down here, I think it might, and then we could see a rally. Let's look at RSI. We do see a little bit of a bear div over here on the 1 day. So we're gonna see this thing come down a little more. There's support at the bottom of the cloud. It's a rather thick cloud, but then we know that there's these other levels of support that we can see a rally develop at. And now that I'm zoomed out a little more, we got that linear support channel right there. I do believe this thing is setting up for a strong year, especially after the Binance listing. Covering Nexus. I like Nexus. Who's still in the Nexus trade with me? Can be. Are you still in Nexus with me since we posted it? Yep, so we did see a little bit of a pullback. What does a pullback trader do? We add right here. You know, we're after this pullback. We're trying to make a newer high. If we look at these last fractals, this last one was at a higher price level than this one. So is this a divergence? I don't quite think so, right? This isn't a div. If the next high forms a lower high on RSI, I would start scaling out. Remember, scaling out, not dumping all the way. Why? Because we did see tokens like Poly and ZRX, things that made us a lot of gains. They'd still move up after divergence. That's why we want to scale out of these positions instead of just completely exiting. So I'm still holding this. I do believe it's going to get listed on Binance. I just have this feeling. We're in a Binance listing era. Luis, let's go over XRP for you. Ripple had been getting pretty aggressive, right? We see these bigger, more bullish engulfing candles that we haven't seen on XRP in a while. Last time we saw those was around this area of the cloud, and now we're seeing these towards the top of the cloud. I do like XRP at these levels. I do. Let's look at moving averages. Moving averages look good. RSI. Get rid of the cloud. We do see somewhat of a hidden bullish divergence here, or pretty close to it, right? We had this lower low on the fractal, right? Higher low over here, but what happened on RSI? I don't think we're quite in the extreme. I gotta get rid of my OBV, or let's go to a smaller time frame. Let's go to a 4 hour. We absolutely have a bullish div, and now price is going up. This last high was not divergent, so picking it up on pullbacks is a good idea. All right, guys, need more altcoin requests. Got some pretty good volume here. Can be, why do you like ICX? We got a TK cross before the cloud, right? So it's not gonna be the most bullish signal. We wanna wait and see what happens further. It's not quite in a range. It was actually trading above the previous range, and now it's back down, retesting the pullback. So if you want to get in on the pullback, you just might be an opportunity. That's fairly good volume as well on Binance. Man, this was your exit on ICX. This massive divergence. Alright, so let's hold it through a bear divergence, get out at a good price. Let's look at it on an ETH chart. And this is what I'm talking about, right? A lot of these alts are going to be rating a lot lower on an ETH chart, where this thing's almost back to the bottom of the range. Going over Zeke. Zeke took a dive. We want to see what caused this sell-off on Zeke. We do see a pretty big divergence. Pretty big bear div, right? Price remained the same. Actually, price headed up. RSI came down. We do see RSI go into the extreme on price, and now trying to make its way back up. Zeke ETH is not gonna look good. It was showing somewhat of a bull flag last time I covered it, and I believe it turned into a head and shoulders. Let's look at the target on this head and shoulders. It's a head and shoulders. You can even go this far out. And it looks like it's at the target for the head and shoulders. Go straight down. Straight down. It's almost at the end of the short play. And now we're seeing RSI start going into the oversold on a hidden divergence. If it turns, it's not, it's lower. Hey guys, give me some tokens. Luis, my favorite alt right now is gonna be Ether, just because it's gotten a lot of upwards price action. I like momentum. I don't like my holdings, you know, just kind of sitting back, not doing anything. All right, Monero BTC. We do see an exaggerated bullish div on the 4-hour. We do know that Monero was a FUD attempt. Well, it's not really FUD, but it is, right? There was this negative news coming out from, I believe, the Korea or Japan, where they were delisting a lot of the anonymity tokens, and Monero was on top of that list. So there was a FUD sell-off. We could be at a bottom. There was also this divergence. This divergence on a 4-hour should have told us something. So if you've been trading with me and you've been bagging Monero and we saw this on our charts, what does this tell us? We were just talking about this, about scaling out. That's when we scaled out of a lot of those boomers earlier this alt season. Because what happens after a bear div? Price comes down until the next bull div. And here we're seeing a bull div unfold. And we should see price action turn back upwards. You are welcome, T-Mom. Guys, we got any more alt requests? Altcoin requests. I'll take 3 more. It's power 38 minutes. RDD. Do you guys prefer power hour at the earlier time or in the evenings? What do you guys prefer? What's better for everyone? And get rid of the OBV line. Alright, so red coin. Not much I could say here, right? We're in this downtrend. Has it broken above the downtrend, right? This would be a pretty valid trend line. Well, let's go to 1 day and assess the trend lines. There's not a lot of volume on this one. Let's see where these candles are. So it could be retesting the trend line. It's a pretty sketchy trend line. I do not like this formation. Go to 4-hour again. Think we've got price beating down on support. What happens when price keeps beating down on support? That's typically bearish, right? So if it does break below these next 2 fractals down, should be a close or a short sell. Thank you guys for letting me know what you prefer. You guys have any more altcoin requests? I'm gonna go back and highlight some pretty interesting things that I'm seeing. ADA. All right, so I scaled out of ADA yesterday on this div. I scaled out of ADA yesterday. I don't know if I posted about it, but I did. Classic. right? This is almost a rising wedge. 1, 2, 4 touches. You got 2 touches of support, 2 touches of resistance, right? What happens after that? We get a downwards break. Does that mean Ada's run is over? Nope. But I decided to go ahead and sit out the downtrend and free up my BTC and some of the BTC I manage. Getting out of Ada enabled me to pick up some Ether with some free BTC, or even selling Ada straight into ETH is an option. But I wanted to get back out towards the top because I didn't want to see it bag me down. I don't want to bag Ada through another one of these. Now let's look at this pullback in USD values. This looks healthy. Look at this wick. Look at this fractal right at the 50% fib. We do see this bear flag forming, so tying up that stop on ADA if you're still holding through the divergence. You bet. Alright guys, we got any more altcoin requests? Check back on BTC while I wait. Another reason I'm liking BTC, right? I spoke about this before, is these divergences on the 12-hour. Right, we get the hidden div, which isn't very strong. But then the retest of these breakout levels look fairly good. Where we're at right now. We'll almost have a pin bar candle. Can't even see it. Saya. This price action looks a lot like this price action. What are we seeing here on Saya? Got a higher high in RSI and a much higher breakout level. All this was room to get out. Now we're seeing a bullish div down here. Quite not yet. Not yet. This low on RSI is lower than that previous low. You want to see what happens on the next low? Let's look at moving averages. Are they bullish or bearish? Moving averages are not looking very healthy here. So momentum is not on our side. And as for chart formations, right, what are we seeing? Are we beating up on support or resistance? It looks like we're beating up on support again. We're just trying to knock that door down. And we're seeing these lower highs and lower lows up until now. I'd put this thing on watch. I don't see a reversal setting up. I just don't. Going over both clouds that we're working on. Not quite a C clamp. Go to 4-hour. I see a bull dip on this 4-hour, right? And it's happened 2-3 times already. Price hasn't broken through. And now we got, oh, this is an interesting article. Former SEC chair represents Ripple and XRP lawsuit. This is probably why we're seeing the Ripple rally. Somebody knows something about this lawsuit. So as we get more friction with the cloud, we might see an actual breakout occur. We do have the Tenkan above the Kijun, so that's a weaker buy signal. Prices below. A pickup at these fractals would be good, or a pickup above the downtrend. I don't know if I rambled too much on Saya. You are welcome, T-Mom. Alright guys, what else? Hit me with some requests. Alright, so I'm just gonna wrap it up with some thoughts on BTC. Goldie, I'll go over rep as well. Let's do rep and then I'll wrap it up. I did see an article come out on Augur today. Something about the founders. I didn't get to read it. Did you read that article, Goldie? I know you stay in tune with the fundamentals. One of you guys share it? One of you guys shared it. I know you did. Alright guys, we get this really aggressive TK cross. Really aggressive TK cross. Where is this TK cross? Or KT? Kijun crossing below the Tenkan, below the cloud, right? That is a bearish signal. That's on our standard cloud. Let's check the... No, that's the custom cloud. Let's check the standard cloud. That hasn't quite happened yet. I see a lower low on RSI. You don't see a C clamp. I would stay away from rep. I know it made this massive leg up on the Binance listing, but then it had been in a sell-off for a while. These two highs are divergent. I'd wait to see like a 4-hour bullish div and pick up that low. Litecoin for pink. Litecoin BTC is still in a range. Let's look at Litecoin US dollar. In a range as well, towards that bottom of the range. It had been setting up for a beautiful flag on some of the longer term charts. Let's go like to a 3-day. Though it is below the cloud. Let's draw out a formation here. Let's get rid of the cloud. Ouch. Not looking too hot for Litecoin right now. Good thing it's not a head and shoulders, right? But then we had seen this series of flags develop with another flag up here. And it just failed to sustain breaking out of the range. Bull flag breaks down. Bull flag breaks down. A double top that's not divergent. Best thing to do is to wait and see what happens towards the end of the pennant for a confirmation on this. If it does close below one of these fractals on a 3-day, that's dangerous. Alright, I'm going to wrap it up with BTC. All right, so on a 1-day standpoint, let's go ahead and set a 1-day horizontal. See what our next level of support is based on the daily chart. Gonna be right around here, right at that 70.66. Goldie and I we're debating about a 7100 bottom by the 6th. Based on the shorter term time frames, I was seeing a potential bottom somewhere around here, because I'm seeing all these rounded bottoms where this price action curve comes down and it curves and heads back up, curve and heads back up, right? And here we saw the same thing, bear flag come down and then price action curved, and it should start heading back up. That being said, I am short as of 77.30, and I am long as of 74.80. And I'm looking to build up my long position as I decrease my short position. So I'm working on flipping myself. That being said, guys, if you're not a community member and you want to check out our hedging workshop, I covered that in the intro. There's a link to that workshop in the video description, so click on that, or just get on our Discord for the next week and get into the community. Thank you guys for tuning into Power Hour. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video, you like our findings, click like, share it on your favorite social media pages. Really appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good night.